So a lot of people are seeing articles in the news, and you may live in Florida and have this happen to you personally. What's going on with condominiums in the state of Florida? In many respects, condos are starting to become kind of like timeshares in Florida, having the same downsides. And here's why. A timeshare is, as you know, a rental for 1 week or 2 weeks a year of a certain unit in a complex. And you technically own that week. You're kind of a deeded owner, but there's 300 or 350 other owners of weeks in that same unit. And the downside to that is if the expenses to operate that timeshare become too excessive, they have to start adding fees to your timeshare cost. And you have to pay them. There's no getting out of it. The same thing is happening with condominiums. Now, technically, with condominiums, you have a condo fee or an HOA fee that you pay every month, and that covers the common expenses like insurance and maintenance and upkeep on that condo building. Imagine, a 15-story condo on the beach somewhere in Florida, and there's maybe 100 units, and there's expenses that go to the whole building, like the roof or fixing the air conditioner or the pool or maintenance or landscaping. And what happens is all those expenses go into a pot. So once all of those expenses are added up, it's then divided up over the number of unit owners. So if there's $100,000 expense and there's 100 unit owners, each unit owner would pay $1,000 to pay for that expense. And there's some management expenses too. There's probably some employees of that condo board. There may be some administrative people, maintenance people, and those are added up too. The problem comes in when there's extraordinary expenses that come up and they have to do a special assessment, meaning that if all of a sudden they find out that the roof is no good and they need to spend $200,000 on a roof, well, now every owner might have an assessment of $2,000 to pay for the roof. Hopefully, a well-run condo board is going to anticipate upcoming normal expenses like a roof or paving the parking lot or redoing the pool and build up a reserve and save every month a little bit rather than having it be a lump sum that hits people hard. The bigger problem is in Florida, there was a law passed a few years ago as a result of the Surfside condo collapse that said every condo building over, I think, 3 stories has to be inspected for structural integrity. And if it needs any emergency repairs to keep it from tipping over, they have to do those. Well, what they're finding is a lot of these condos that were built in the 70s and 80s, even into the 90s, were not constructed in a way that they last more than 40 years. And some of them are having rust in the rebar, they're having spalling on the concrete, they're having other structural defects. And when the engineer comes in and inspects it, your video will be back in 8 seconds. In the meantime, remember, you have access to live one-on-one consultation, undivided attention of a licensed certified expert in this subject and many others. We want to listen to your story. We want to hear your questions and give you expert advisement of your options. We want to tell you what we know about your situation and what options you have. Now back to your video. Their butt is on the line. If they inspect it and say everything's okay and then it tips over, they can get sued. So they're going out of their way to be cautious about saying, look, this could happen. This could be a problem. And so sometimes these condos are getting estimates for repairs that could be several millions of dollars to fix this condo building. That could be 100, 150, 200,000 per unit just to keep that building livable, to keep it with a certificate of occupancy. So many of these condo buildings now are getting assessments that are more than what the condo is worth. So some people are walking away. What happens if you have a mortgage? What happens if that's where you live? It's a problem. So the amount you owe on a condo is kind of unlimited. And you've heard those timeshare cancellation commercials where it says, a timeshare is the only thing you buy that you don't know what it's going to cost. Well, condos are becoming the same thing. Condominium buildings in Florida, not even high rises, some townhouses are running into the same problem because remember, you only own from the wall in. You don't own the structure. When you buy a condominium, you own from the paint on your wall inward. Everything outside of that is what's called common area or common elements. And those have to be maintained and fixed and repaired by the association. Well, you're living in a box that you don't know how well it's run. If you had your own single family home and you knew that your framing was getting eaten by termites, you'd do something to fix it. If you knew that your roof trusses were getting rotted, you would fix it. You wouldn't let that happen because that's your house. A condo board might not know it and they might not care because they don't want to spend more money and have to hit you up for fees. But then when it comes a big assessment, then everybody complains about it. So there's a big crisis with condominiums in Florida. Some lenders are not lending on condominiums anymore. Some owners are walking away. Some of the values are plummeting. Some people are trying to just dump them for cheap. And this is going to be a significant development in the real estate market for condominiums. And it may extend past Florida. Other coastal areas might see that. Even other parts of the country that have condominiums like California, New Jersey, New York might start to see some of this spread. But right now it's mostly Florida because of that law that was passed, because of Surfside collapse. I know you have an opinion about this. Put it in the comments below. Let us know if you think that it's fair to have these inspections and these assessments, or if it's the fault of the condo owners for not keeping up with their buildings, or is it the board that didn't do enough preventive maintenance, or is the law too harsh? It's something that's affecting lots of people, and it could affect especially retirees that decided they wanted to have less maintenance, have a condominium instead of a house, and now they have no place to live. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can access live one-on-one personal consultations with a licensed private investigator, a licensed commercial insurance broker, licensed certified real estate title examiner, also a certified civil court mediator. So if you have a need to talk to an expert in any of these fields, or even a licensed building general contractor, you can click the link below, actualhuman.com, and arrange a live one-on-one undivided attention with a licensed expert where you can ask any questions, get information about your situation, and we'd be glad to help.